So we've had the qualifying session for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and before we get into that, there's a couple of penalties that I need to tell you about before the session, and a little bit of that I need to get off my chest. Carlos Sainz has got a 10-place grid penalty for changing some battery parts due to a loose drain cover coming off the circuit and absolutely destroying his Ferrari. Now, this happened in free practice 1, which meant the cars ran for 8 minutes. Alpine also got damaged, and then the Ferrari took the worst of it. And yeah, absolutely disastrous start for Formula 1 in Vegas. Yes. And then it didn't just stop there, did it? Like, it absolutely destroyed Ferrari. They got a 10-place penalty because there's nothing within the rules to say that if there's something out of the team's control, which like this absolutely destroys your car through no fault of your own, there's nothing we can do, but you need to take a penalty if it takes you over your allotted part usage. And with us right at the end of the season, you know, this was the last they would have had, and it cost them an absolute fortune, hasn't it, repairing this car for Ferrari, and no compensation, and a 10-place penalty just to, you know, deepen the wounds for Carlos Sainz in a track where they were doing or should do really well. Yeah, just listen to the clip. I mean, it's a fair thump. I'll stay quiet, just listen out for it. Yeah, absolutely disastrous, isn't it? A whack, and it absolutely destroyed that car for Carlos Sainz. And you know, to give out a penalty for it is just absolutely shocking. And to have a loose drain cover in the first place when you've spent an absolute fortune on this circuit is an absolute shocker. I know Toto Wolff has been massively outspoken against any criticism of this, and yes, this is a first time for F1. They are the organisers here, you know, they are the guys to go to when stuff like this goes wrong. You know, we've seen it happen on other circuits, yes, but it shouldn't be happening when you've spent a fortune. First time out, destroys a car, and what was to follow was even worse, wasn't it? For all the fans out there, they got 8 minutes of FP1. There was a long delay while they fixed all this. Because of that long delay, the labour laws kicked into force, and the security and all the other staff couldn't stay any longer to look after the crowds effectively by the time FP2 got going. And so about 5 hours later, and if any fans stayed for that long in the freezing cold, well, you got told to go home, and the FP2 took place in empty stands. I mean, absolute show, beep show. It was just like, yeah, disastrous, absolutely disastrous. And why do Formula 1 always manage to do this when they get you know, a big unique event? We've seen it in Indianapolis with the 8 cars starting. It always happens in the state, doesn't it? They shoot themselves in the foot somehow. This Carlos Sainz penalty as well, it's just like, you know, just knock your heads together, someone, and just come to a sensible conclusion. It wasn't to be. But yeah, that's it, ran over into qualifying Q1. We've seen Yuki Tsunoda go out, he'll start last. Oscar Piastri 19th, Zhou Guanyu 18th, Ocon 17th, and Lando Norris 16th. It was a shocking Q1 session for McLaren. And yes, Idiot Boy here had Lando Norris for his first win, and it looks like it'll be a miracle for him tomorrow if he pulls that off. But I'm going to say never, but you know, yeah, long shot. And there from Q1, Ferrari just shown how dominant they are. It was Charles Leclerc leading Carlos Sainz and George Russell in that Q1 session. The stars in that and continued throughout, wasn't it? Was a Haas, Nico Hülkenberg P5, Pierre Gasly P6, and Logan Sargent actually was P12 in that. Brilliant for him, right behind his teammate. And then goes into Q2, Daniel Ricciardo 15th, Lance Stroll 14th. He will start 5 places back because I forgot about his penalty. He got a 5-place penalty for passing Max Verstappen under double wave yellows at the end of the practice 3 session when Alex Albon hit the wall in practice. A red flag came out. He was busy looking at his steering wheel. Pass Verstappen under double wave yellows and a 5-second penalty, so he'll start P19th tomorrow, which is a shame. Nico Hülkenberg 13th, and then came the shock of Q2, Sergio Perez P12, and then Lewis Hamilton again in P11, both knocked out. Absolutely disastrous for a pair of them. Perez is a shocker in qualifying recently, and yeah, he went into qualifying with just 3 sets of tyres and went for his Q2 run early before the best of the track conditions, which is a strange tactic and strategy from the Red Bull team, I suppose, as much as it lies with both team and driver. Red Bull really sort of messed this up for him, haven't they, in some ways. I guess they were probably thinking they don't want to get him caught in a yellow flag, considering he only had one run, given his limited set of tyres. But yeah, it shot themselves in the foot. And Lewis Hamilton, he had an absolutely shocker, hasn't he, for qualifying. He said that was the best he's got, and his teammate was up in sort of third place in that session. Yeah, not really sure what's gone wrong with him and his car here. Let's see what he can do in the race tomorrow. The stars again, Pierre Gasly and P4 in that session, and Logan Sargent P9. Brilliant from them too. And then into the Q3 session, and the Ferraris came to the force, isn't it? Came to the front. Brilliant. Charles Leclerc will start the race on pole position. His teammate Carlos Sainz behind him is a 1-2 for a Ferrari. Sainz sadly starting P12 now after that 10th place penalty. Max Verstappen was third. He had a poor qualifying session, didn't he? His Q3 run, the final run, he made a mistake in sector 2, was 6/10 down and aborted that lap. He'll be banking on that car doing really well on its tyres, as it has done in race day, to hunt Ferraris down tomorrow. But Charles Leclerc was also disappointed, wasn't he? He said his Q3 run wasn't the best, so he's still got a lot more in the locker, as Charles Leclerc. So it'll be interesting to see if he can use that pace to his advantage in the race tomorrow. And George Russell continued his qualifying streak. It was brilliant, wasn't it? A session for him throughout qualifying. A P4 start. He'll start third after Sainz's penalty, but yeah, brilliant result from him. Pierre Gasly, hats off to him, P5 start. Everybody said this Alpine would really struggle with the down on power on these big long straights, but what a performance to put it in 5th place. For the race tomorrow, he said obviously he'd be delighted if he can pick up a podium, but I think he's really looking behind his shoulder with the boys behind him in faster cars down the straight. I think he might be in trouble from the 2 Williams team, who actually, Alex Albon starting in 6th place, Logan Sargent in 7th place. What a performance from them two. Brilliant from Logan Sargent, I've got to say, because he's finally closed up to his teammate. Didn't quite beat him, but to finally be 2 Williams together, it's crucial for him at this stage, isn't it, to have a good race tomorrow, pick up some points. And if they do get some solid points tomorrow, I think they'll secure 7th in the Constructors with there only being 1 race to go. But yeah, fantastic job from the pair of them Williams guys. Valtteri Bottas next in P8, a brilliant performance from the Alfa Romeo car. Yeah, fantastic. I didn't really see that happening for them there. Joe Guanzu starting 8th, so he's beat his team by 10 places. Fantastic job for Valtteri. Kevin Magnussen in P9, he beats his teammate again in qualifying. It was the one that was like getting beat by his teammate early doors, wasn't he, in qualifying? He's really turned his qualifying performances around. Hats off to him, brilliant P9 start. And Fernando Alonso will round up the top 10. He'll be disappointed actually, because it looked like he was in the fight for sort of 6th and 7th really, wasn't he? But didn't quite come together for him in Q3 on that final run. But yeah, for the stars for me in that qualifying session, it's got to be Pierre Gasly, because he pulled off that P5 in a car that probably shouldn't be there. He's going to start 4th tomorrow. And same with Logan Sargent. Brilliant to see him do really well in his home race in the US. He's got 3 of them, hasn't he? Take a pick which one he wants to be his main home race, I guess. But yeah, fantastic result for him. And yeah, we'll get to see Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen fighting down into the first corner tomorrow. I can't wait for the action to get going, because there's a lot of unknowns here for Las Vegas. All of the drivers and everybody saying that they're really struggling with tyres. Tyre deg will be crucial, because well, you're not getting them into the right operating window, and if the tyres are cold, you chew them up completely, they grain and they just fall off a cliff massively fast. And then you're looking at sort of potentially 2 or 3 stops for the race. If you can get them in the window, then it's an easy 1-stop race, and if you can do that, then well, you're the race winner, managing to stop at least once or twice less than your rivals. I mean, it's 20-30 seconds for a stop normally, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We've got 8 different teams in the top 10, so it's really good, exciting, mixed up grid for the race tomorrow. We've got Lewis Hamilton and Perez who will be coming from further back in 11th and 12th. The 2 Williams, brilliant. Will we see them fighting up, even for podium potentially with that car really good down the straights. I imagine they'll pick Gasly off early potentially, and then a fight with, have they got enough in them to fight the, you know, for Russell for that third place potentially. We'll see Carlos Sainz charging through the field. That Ferrari was brilliantly quick, especially early on when he'll be able to get his tyres up to temperature faster than anyone else. And will they make them last? And that's the crucial point for the race tomorrow. A lot of unknowns, new circuit, should be fantastic. Watch out for the race review tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always. See you for the race review tomorrow.